Hi, this is Mike Regan, and I'm delighted to welcome John DuBiel, the CEO of Supply Chain Edge, to our audience. John runs a great consulting organization, and they do an outstanding job of helping companies run their transportation in supply chain operations more efficiently and effectively. John, we have a challenge today. Let me cut right to the chase. In our 2-minute warnings and some of the things we've been talking about in our speeches, we've highlighted this perfect storm where we're seeing carriers be much more aggressive in asking for larger rate increases than we can remember in modern memory, okay? Well, the practicality of it is one of the things we've talked about is even in an environment where rates are going through the roof, we can still reduce freight costs. Well, guess what? Some people have taken us up and they said, Mike, give us some specifics. We're interested in reducing freight costs, but help me get on the path to lowering my freight costs. So what I'd like to ask you to do is just respond to a couple of questions, and I'll mix it up by mode, okay?
Sure.
And specifically, for a company that's a large LTL shipper, help me understand how I reduce my LTL costs beyond having the carrier give me lower rates. Give me some practical tips.
Sure, Mike. The first tip I would give you is order size. Order size is everything because that correlates to unit cost. The larger the shipment, the less expensive it is to ship and a unit cost perspective. Also, I highly recommend looking at your packaging and your unitization. It's time to take a look at the package engineers and make sure they're doing their jobs because dimensionalized pricing is here to stay in our marketplace.
Yeah, and for a lot of you, you may not be familiar with what dimensional pricing is, but basically what the carriers are saying is you're going to pay for the size of the shipment in addition to the weight of the shipment. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yes.
John, let's talk about truckload. I'm a big truckload shipper, and I've seen JB Hunt. I've got their letter, and it says budget for 10% increases or more. How do I reduce my truckload freight cost?
Well, this is a real simple answer to your question would be do a better job of tendering freight to that carrier. And what I mean by that, Mike, is in today's marketplace, just-in-time inventory and speed to market, carriers are asked to deliver freight quickly, sometimes more quickly than they can do legally. And so what we suggest clearly is that you give the carriers as much time as possible. Give them 2, 3, or 4 days notice to pick up a load. You're going to increase your carrier stable, and you're going to keep your rates as low as they can possibly be.
So I heard one person talk about the fact that when they increased the amount of time they gave the carriers to find equipment, the tendering, from like 2 days to 5 days, they were able to affect a reduction of 16 to 18% in their truckload. Is that an anomaly, or is that something that is consistent with what you've seen?
It's absolutely consistent. Keep in mind, these motor carriers have assets to manage. The more time you give the carriers to manage their assets, the more effectively they can offer you price reductions.
Okay, so you mentioned managing assets is important. Let's talk about detention. What happens when a carrier shows up at a shipper's dock or their customer's dock? Can you talk about how that impacts freight costs?
Well, if you keep those carriers too long, you probably won't see them again. It might be a one-time pickup or delivery. But again, the drivers are limited to how much time they can work in a day. And if they're spending time in congestion, in traffic, or they're spending time at a shipper's dock or a receiver's dock, those go against their hours when the drivers could be driving and delivering freight and meeting lead times.
So pay attention to your docks and get the drivers in and out.
Absolutely.
So it's like one of our customers, they went and they put a cement pad at their facility for about $25,000, and that cement pad reduced their freight cost by over $400,000 because it gave the carriers an opportunity to drop their trailers there, give the customer an opportunity to load the trailers. The power unit shows up, picks it up, they're in and out. Is that the type of stuff that our customers should be looking at?
Absolutely, Mike. And in this environment, drivers want to drive.
Drivers want to drive. Great tip. One final thing I'd like to have you share is the issue of technology. You have been on the bandwagon. I've been on the bandwagon. A lot of companies are using antiquated tools to manage a modern budget. Talk to me.
Sure. Technology is paramount in any improvement process. I implemented my first transportation management system in 1992. Today, we're surprised at how many large cap shippers still don't have a transportation management system. The systems and the technology investment has been in the ERP, but the transportation management people are still using spreadsheets.
So what that means with the transportation management system, it'll automate the tendering, the tracking, the tracing, a lot of different things. Companies should be doing that.
It'll create your database. It's really the way of now, not the future. If you don't have a TMS right now and you're a significant shipper, you're behind the 8 ball already.
So let me wrap this up, John, and I want to say thank you for your time. These are just some of the tips, if you will, the tips of the iceberg. There's a whole bunch of other things that you've pointed out, the value of the rapid assessment. If you're interested in learning more how these tools can be used to manage and reduce your freight costs, all you need to do is give us a call or send us an email. We'd welcome the opportunity to share this valuable information with you. Thanks for your time.